what's up, North County? I'm your host, Randy Doty, and today we are talking with Mitchell Montero and Joe Belmonte with Origin Training Center up in Paso, Robles. Thanks for coming in, guys.
Absolutely.
So tell me about what is going on. You guys are wrestlers, obviously. You look like wrestlers. You look like you guys are scrappers. And so, Joe, I'm going to first start with you.
All right.
So you are not only now this new owner of this training center that we're just getting, we'll be getting into, but you're also training or coaching at Tascadero as the high school.
Yeah.
Right?
So, yeah, I've assistant coached for the last 4 years at Tascadero High School, which is my alumni. I graduated back in 2004. Didn't know I was going to get into coaching, but somehow got into it because I was kind of just curious what was happening in the wrestling room since I literally bought a house down the street. So I walked in there, knocked on the door, and got involved. But yeah, this coming next season, the reins will be handed to me, and I'll be the head coach. And I'm very excited.
Taking over Tascadero High School wrestling program, huh?
Yeah, and that maybe is bigger than I even realized. I don't know, but like I'm really excited for it. I feel a lot of support from the community, alumni, Chris Free, who's a big person in my life, Dan Pry. So I'm like honored to be in that position, to even be considered, and I'm just ready to change the tide, so to speak, because I feel like it was doing so great in the early 2000s, mid 2000s, and even in the 90s, as you probably know, there were some killer teams even in the 80s, but like I want to try to bring that back, you know? So I felt
But the cool thing is not only, I mean, we're talking about wrestling, but you guys are building or built, it's already there, a big girls program too.
Yeah, so yeah, we were talking about that earlier. I'm very excited about that. Just the growth of women's wrestling has really exploded. I made the comment of like I feel like women's wrestling has saved wrestling in some regards just because of the attention and the popularity and the insurgence of it. But yeah, we have a great team. One of our standout athletes, Emma Garrett, I'm really excited for her senior campaign this next year. She's put in a lot of work. She just took second in folk style state at the Selland Arena a couple of weeks ago. We're going to coach our freestyle state. So she's determined to either go to Fargo, make a California team, do something big, but she's like, there's no off time or downtime for her. She wants to go out with a big bang for her senior campaign. So I'm excited to have athletes that are like all in like that.
Right?
You know?
Yeah, good time to take it over.
That affects all the other women on the team. Like they're seeing it and they're like, now we got more women joining our club, girls joining the club, and it's like really cool. And Emma's a big part of that. Now,
does the guys wrestle the girls, or do you kind of keep them like gender type thing?
At practice, guys can wrestle girls. Yes, if there's a lack of drill partner, but like normally they're wrestling each other, a girl. But like in practice, we'll have Emma go against the 130 pounder boys, and they'll scrap it. And sometimes Emma will get some takedowns.
Do you ever just let them go like to the end?
Oh yeah, and Emma's, she's a gamer and she's tough, and she'll get takedowns on the boys. She'll take them down, pin them. So it's fun to watch. But in competition in duel, they're wrestling girls.
Nice.
Yeah.
So Mitchell, let me move over to you. So tell me about your background. Obviously, Montero, Paso Robles. You guys are synonymous with wrestling in Paso Robles. So tell me about that.
Came up through a little kid program my dad was part of, and ended up running, and along with the high school program. So, born and raised in Paso, and part of that wrestling community for a long time. Went to Cal Poly for a short stint, and had a little too much fun my freshman year. Learned my lesson. Got my associate's degree at Cuesta, and ended up transferring to Cal State Bakersfield. I finished up my wrestling career there, where I earned a scholarship. Was able to win a couple Pac-10, back then it was Pac-10, so a couple Pac-10 titles, and then I earned All-American status my senior year in 2009, 2010, taking fifth in the nation.
Congrats.
And now I'm back in the area. I have two young sons, Lane, who's 12, and Lau, who's 9, along with a good group of young men that are willing to put the work in on the football field and the wrestling mat, to better themselves, not only on the mat but outside of the mat, being confident and learn, some self-discipline and respect and all the great things that wrestling has to offer. Me and Joe met when we were kids. We actually wrestled a match, and He beat
Oh
me.
yeah,
He beat me in a
beat
match.
you, huh?
Yeah.
You guys ever want to like have a little rematch?
Yeah, if we ran it back, I think it'd go quite different.
I think we're be like a fundraiser maybe.
Yeah, we could do a fundraiser, put the singlets on. I think he might squeeze the life out of me, though.
But yeah, now we're here with
Bear.
Origin Training
Right?
Center and the two other individuals that are involved with us running the club is Nate Ybarra, who's the head wrestling coach at Paso Robles High. He's a native of Rio Grande. He also wrestled Division I at Cal Poly, had a really great career there. And then Jason Davidson, who's a Paso alumni. He was actually one of my coaches when I was in middle school for wrestling and football. Great guy, has been coaching since I can remember. So yeah, us four tackling this club and trying to provide more opportunity for the youth to earn scholarships and learn how to work hard.
So so we jump right into that. So, what was the focus? I mean, this seems like this is a long time coming for like a program like this or a secondary center other than just the high school wrestling program. Because it seems like Paso's always been like really big into wrestling in some aspect, but to where there's never been an additional wrestling center like
we
this?
can talk about that because that's kind of a big part of this is like when I was assistant coaching, like I have a young child, kids too. I have two little boys and an older daughter, and my young, not my youngest, but my middle son is very into wrestling. So selfishly, I'm like, we need a kids club in Atascadero. So I took over what was the Atascadero youth wrestling. I feel like it needed a little bit of elevated technique and different look, different feel. And they were willing to give it over to me just because of my past and who I was at the high school and stuff. And I created Mad Dog Wrestling Club. And we did that for like 2-ish years. And we had success, and we had kids go into tournaments and stuff like that and having some success at that level. But they've had their club since like 2012-ish? 2011, Smash Mouth, which has been very good. I think Matt started it back in the day.
That's the name of your guys' club, Smash
We were
Mouth?
formerly Smash Mouth. My brother started it in 2011.
Yeah, Matt started it back
So
in
we've had
2011.
a number of kids that come through the program. Two that I'm proud of is my nephew Ty Montero, who came to the program, who knows at Stanford on scholarship for wrestling, and then another young man named Jason Mora, who was part of the program. He actually ended up moving to, I think, Idaho, and he won 4 state titles there, and now he's at Stanford as well, wrestling. So at one time they were part of the program, and that's kind of what we're trying to do for these kids.
They've had many kids go through that program and that go to the state tournament, which that alone in itself is a accomplishment. So Smash Mouth is a very like it's been there for a while. It's established. Mine was newer, but we would throw little tournaments together. Like I would rent out the Tascadero gymnasium for a couple $100, and we'd have
Smash Mouth against
Smash Mouth first.
Mad Dog.
Yeah, and we'd have a little, what would we call it?
North County Scrap.
North County Scrap.
Yeah.
Have a little North County Scrap on a Sunday morning. All the parents had their coffee, and and it was a good way for the community to come together to promote wrestling. And we'd have some of the alumni at like reffing and stuff, but we had fun. And then we'd go hang out afterwards and have lunch or whatever. And then we're like, what if we did something together? What if we brought everybody together and the kids would have better drill partners. We'd have better coaching staff, D1 guys like Mitch and Nate. And it's just, we'd raise the level of talent big time when we come together rather than silo each other, So that's how we were born, or the idea of it was born.
And how long ago was that? When was that first discussion?
Like a year ago?
We've always discussed it, Joe and I. And
It's been like a dream forever.
Yeah, it's always been something I've brought up amongst with Jason Davidson and Nate Ybarra and.
But they were part of Smash Mouth.
Yes.
Okay.
They both. Jason has his son Will, who I believe is gonna be 11 soon, and then Nate has a young son, Bodie, who's 7, I think. So they're all in the wrestling program. And like Joe was saying, selfishly speaking, we want to create a room for our sons, and then on top of that, for amongst the kids throughout this area, the Central Coast, or like I said, anywhere that anybody wants to come and be a part of the club and train and be a part of the team, and we're all for it. We're here to put those practices on for them and go coach them in tournaments and whatnot. But
so it took you about a year to get everything going, the ball moving.
Yeah.
The idea to kind of start.
Pretty much
flourishing.
like from like when we sat down, I mean, like we said, we've been talking about for years and years, but like we really sat down, said, what if this was a possibility to now, 3 weeks ago, about a year, and, came up with a new name. We were having little business meetings, talking about what each of us would do, what role we would play in this, and where are we going to find the facility. We found the facility. Luckily, that was awesome. That's always a big hurdle, is just finding the facility. Found that, come up with a name together, and I already had the website, so I changed everything over and rebranded everything. There's a CRM and paywall and all these things and sponsorships and all that stuff, but like we're working through that. And 3 weeks in, like we're having practices every single day, 5 days a week for novice level, like what is that, 5 to 8 year old. Mm-hmm. We do that Tuesday, Thursdays from 5 to 6, so that's an hour-long practice for the little kids. That's kids that are just wanting to get introduced, just put their foot in the pool, a lot of gymnastics stuff, understanding double, single, high crotch, sprawl, all that fundamental stuff, so they can eventually go to our other, that we're doing is elite level or Origin Elite practices. These are kids that are like wanting to compete in tournaments, go to the state level, place high, do some good stuff there. And I'd say that's like 9 to like 14-ish, right up to high school level. And that's Monday, Wednesday, Friday from, I believe, 5 to 7 right now. So a 2-hour intense long practice. And then we have high school that goes right after those novice on Tuesdays and Thursdays. From 6 to 7:30. So we're pulling Paso Robles kids from high school, Tascadero kids coming together, and getting better. And the wrestlers that put in the work on the off season are the wrestlers that kick ass in the normal high school season, because they put in a whole season on the off season. It's all about getting
And wrestling
more mat
just
time.
ended, didn't it?
It did, yeah.
For the high school?
Right. And for these athletes that are coming to our Origin Training Center, it never ends, because we're creating the culture where it's a year-round thing, and we've kind of never had that from when we were little kids. Like even Smash Mouth and Mad Dog had its like seasons, right? We would stop and start. Now we're creating a culture where the kids can wrestle year-round, and that's something that him and I searched for when we were younger, because I would drive all the way to Rio Grande to get matches. I would drive to Morro Bay to get matches. I would go to Paso and wrestle with Mitch. Wherever I could get a scrap in, wherever my dad could take me, where I could get a good 2-hour workout live, that's where we'd go. Now we're creating that for other kids to have, like something we never had before.
So, Mitch, do you coach at the high school also in Paso?
I'm currently not on staff there.
Okay.
But there's a handful of kids that they come to Origin Training Center now, and try to work with them as much as I can, and fine tune whatever their style is, or just the basics. Get them going.
So, Joe, how does that work with CIF, with high school and
Club is the workaround.
Is it?
Yeah, when you have a club, you're able to kind of do that kind of stuff.
So you call it a club?
Yes.
Not okay.
Yeah.
So even though you're a high school coach for Tascadero,
right?
Gotcha.
Yeah.
It's like sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. No,
I was gonna say at the college level, they have Olympic training centers, so that's their get around. So a lot of these guys, once they're out of their college season, they'll go compete for their a club team or their Olympic training center to go internationally or on a national level at the freestyle and Greco level. So it's kind of the same thing.
Yeah, because they always know during football is like it must be weird because there's no club
right
available. I guess because obviously it's one time a year and that's it. Right. That's really the only sport that doesn't have a club or traveling or whatever
around
you call
here,
it year
yeah.
round.
I mean, like my sister lives in Arizona. They have like club football tackle.
Oh, they do?
Yeah, like that is a thing in other places, and that's their workaround. And then you're pulling kids from all over to collaborate and create a super team, But yeah, you're right. Around here, like football doesn't have that situation.
But you're the head coach in Tascadero. You said his name's Joe.
Nate.
Nate. Oh,
Nate Ybarra
he's the head coach in Paso.
Yeah, my dad stepped away, I don't know, maybe 3 years ago, and Nate stepped in and took over the program.
Okay.
So yeah, my dad was up there since the late 80s to
Forever.
Yeah,
Long time.
So, yeah.
And so now you guys are getting. So now obviously Tascadero and Paso are huge rivals on
Yeah.
the mat, right?
Yeah.
So now you got the head coach Tascadero, head coach
Yeah.
Paso,
But,
and
you
you're like,
know-
hey, don't be talking to that guy. No, come over here, huh?
Yeah, no, none of that's going down. It's like I've known Nate since I was a child as well. Like he would be the guys that we'd drive all the way to AG to wrestle with, you know. So it's not like that, but it's a collaborated experience, and I just want to see kids win. I don't care what mascot they're wrestling for during the wrestling season, you know. And of course, you know, and Nate will be the same way. Like during high school, we compete. But during the off season, we collaborate and we get our kids all better, right? So it's a fun atmosphere. And
But you won't have a blackout period like baseball and softball and all that stuff does, right? For your program?
well, I mean, like, again, I think the club is a workaround kind of situation where like it's not affiliated to the high school.
Right.
There is a certain time in the high school or CIF, whatever, where you cannot actually do wrestling or work out, and that actually pushed me to do this because I wanted to have a facility where I could.
Right.
I don't believe in downtime. I believe that there's the type of athlete that we're trying to create is someone who is year-round wrestling, right? And what would that be like, you know? Because we're competing with the Valley, the Clovises, the Buchanans, all those great wrestling schools out there in the Valley that never stop wrestling, you know? So we're trying to create that right here in the Central Coast, and specifically in North County, because that's where we're at.
Now, will you guys go? You're mentioning tournaments, so now, so there's club tournaments probably now through next year, or
Yeah, they go for a while.
is
Yeah.
it,
Talk about state we were just at.
Yeah. Well, it's tough to kind of manage because you have USA Wrestling, who's been around since I was a kid, and in recent years, there's another organization, CVYWA, Central Valley Youth Wrestling Association, and then there's SCWA, which is Southern California Youth Wrestling Association.
Mm-hmm.
So all these different organizations put on tournaments, which is great because there's tournaments every weekend. If you're willing to travel to the Valley or LA or North, which is a great opportunity for the kids. But yeah, so they have state meets. We just attended USA States, which is a great tournament for the kids to go to. A lot of great competition. I mean, there's kids from Northern California, Southern California. So it was good exposure, good experience. Kind of most of our kids, they're for just us starting out, like their first kind of exposure to a big time event like that. So it was good for them to kind of get there and experience that. And have some fun. And then like with the girls wrestling too, at the youth level, they have girls brackets only. So they'll, so that's something where, like Joe said, we're trying to get a girls team going, and they'd be able to go to compete just like the boys do on a state level or local level. So, yeah.
do you think the girls program and the girls category is going to surpass boys? Because it sounds like it sounds like
I would
it's
say I don't know. I don't think so. I think it's just going to get to an even level playing field. Like, because when we were in high school, when a girl stepped on the mat, it was like, what?
Right.
Now it's like, of course, yeah, let's do it. Like, and you see some girls that step up in their high school team to fill a spot where maybe someone was sick or they're injured, wrestle against a boy. Still, I still see that sometimes occasionally.
Oh, really?
Where they go outside of their just the girl versus girl, they'll step in and fill that void for that team. But yeah, I don't think it'll surpass. Maybe it will. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy. But I think boys wrestling and girls wrestling are now almost like right here. Like, well, it's still like, you look at the NCAAs that just happened, Division I. I mean, that's on ESPN. It is it's the spectacle of the year for us. Like, we're all texting each other. Are you watching that? Did you see that match? So it's like, it's huge. And I think girls wrestling will get to that point in the next couple of years because they just, officially made it like a D2, D3. They're going to have a national championship. It'll be on ESPN, et cetera. But I'm just excited that more people are wrestling in general. Girl
Right.
or boy, it doesn't matter to me. Like, wrestling has both of our hearts. Like, we love this sport. It's done so much for us in our lives. And regardless of if you're a man or a woman, like, I'm just happy that wrestling is going bigger because there's some schools, like you talk about Stanford, Wouldn't Cal State Bakersfield almost lost wrestling before?
Yeah, they were.
Right?
Yes.
So like there's programs that have almost lost and then regained because of donors. There's also programs that have completely let go of wrestling, which breaks our heart when we hear those stories. So to hear that wrestling is getting bigger and bigger and bigger because of women's wrestling, I'm all for it. You know.
Totally. So you guys just so first off, how did the name come up? You said you guys, because you guys had to collaborate.
Yeah.
You have Mad Dog.
Yeah.
You have
Smash
Smash
Mouth.
Mouth.
Smash Mouth.
Yeah.
None of which is
Right.
that name collaborated.
Yeah, we wanted something different, something
our
that
own
wasn't
thing.
too complex, but kind of caught people's attention, and the word origin, basics, the beginning. So it's kind of something that we just caught on to and was kind of catchy. And at the end of practices, we have the kids get a breakdown, and they call it OTC. So it kind of sounds cool, short.
Which is on the sleeve, right?
Yeah, the
OTC.
OTC.
Yeah.
Yep. So yeah, it's just something we just popped up, and we all agreed on it and ran with it.
Very cool.
I was creating logos and doing it all, and I love business. I love business. My prior life before being a wrestling coach, I'm also a real estate agent here locally in the Central Coast. I branded myself as the Wrestling Realtor on Instagram.
Yeah.
So if you want to follow me, Wrestling Realtor.
I'll take you down to the best house deal around.
No one's gonna outwork me. Trust me. No one will outwork a wrestler, especially in sales. But my prior life before that was I was vice president of sales for a real estate training coaching company in Orange County, which I lived there for like 17 years before I came back during COVID. But I always thought about wrestling. I mean, so every one of my employees, my sales guys knew I was an ex-wrestler. I love to hire people that were wrestlers. Like if that came up in an interview, hired.
Oh, yeah.
You can't barely talk, but you wrestled. I can make you.
We're not talking about the job or anything, but tell me about your
Tell me more
takedowns. Tell
about
me who
high
you
school.
wrestled.
How'd you do? How was CF? Okay. And you can speak English. I can make you a good salesperson. Because you wrestled, you can overcome.
Nice. That's
So.
But you guys are 3 weeks into this, so what are
Yeah.
you guys looking at? I mean, are you guys still gaining on clients, or
Yeah,
what are you guys at with numbers?
I think we're in a text. We have a text thread with our coaches, and we really I think it's smart. We want to focus on the novice wrestlers because that's the funnel, right? The little kids, you get them to fall in love with wrestling. It's a great physical workout for them. It's great for coordination. Discipline, all these things that wrestling gives a human being. But if we can focus on these novice kids and grow them into our elite program and then the high school program, I think that's the flywheel effect that would take effect. But we are doing some collaboration with the newspapers. I think we're trying to do a press release. We want to do a grand opening. We're going to do takedowns and tacos. We'll have a little takedown tournament within our little facility. Get the parents together, and we're trying to create that family or culture where everybody digs what we're doing, sees the effects that are happening in their kids, and all the while we're having a fun time doing it.
So is this the main goal for this? Is for kids scholarships?
Oh yeah.
Is that the main focus per se, or is it more? Is there self-defense in there as well?
You can talk to it.
Yeah, I mean, wrestling in general, once you learn how to position your body and learn some offensive moves and defensive moves, it could be utilized as self-defense, amongst other things. Some of the things I always talk to my kids about is showing up on time. I tell them, when you get older, you're gonna have a job. Do you think your boss is gonna like you showing up late? And of course, they all have common sense, and they say no. And said, well, I expect you to be here on time. And those little things that we're trying to teach, whether they wrestle in college or not, trying to get them to, for one, have a work ethic and be respectful, and go out there and learn some self-discipline, staying in shape, learn the value of working out and being healthy, amongst all those things. The ultimate goal would be to get them in the high school programs and go on a state level and national level and perform, above average and place these tournaments or win tournaments and earn a scholarship wherever that may be throughout the nation. Whether that's Division I, Division II, NAIA, junior college. I mean, there's a lot of opportunities out there. So,
because with scholarships with kids, I mean, nowadays, I mean, it's a vehicle. I mean, not everybody's going to be go to the UFC. Not everybody's going to be a professional anything, right? Yeah. But that scholarship, that full ride, that partial ride, that is a vehicle for your life, your career, it can be that vehicle. So it doesn't necessarily have to be that something like, oh, I'm going to be this. Yeah. You're just using them as they're using you, correct. But you're getting your degree or whatever it may be. Yeah. Like I was fortunate enough to earn a scholarship, and I actually coached at Cal Poly for approximately 4 years. So I'm able to have an insight with, going online and these high school kids going online and filling out questionnaires, contacting coaches, attending the correct tournaments, because there's certain tournaments a lot of these college coaches go to recruit and scout. On top of that, with the academic side of admissions, and we promote having good grades and being a respectful young man in the classroom and or woman. Overall, just a well-rounded person in the wrestling room. In the academic room and outside of that is what we're trying to promote. And just to be clear, the majority of our kids right now are Paso, Tascadero, a little bit of Templeton, but we want all kids throughout the area to come and be part of this program and make the wrestling room tougher and better. And, hopefully we can go out there and compete and, win some titles as a team and individually. So. And I heard that you said 5 years age. Is that the youngest?
5 to 8 novice.
Okay, so it's five your youngest that you guys are bringing on.
Kind of cap it at that. Yeah.
Okay, and then up to high school, or can they go up to?
Yeah, we have up to like 18 years old, 15 to 18 kind of range in high school. We have that practice 2 days a week on Thursdays. We haven't taught Since we have our own facility, we have unlimited time slots now. We don't have to. We're not in the beck and call of like a high school or another, martial arts place we're subleasing from. It's like our spot. So like we've tossed around like, hey, should we have an open mat with all the alumni? We get hit up all the time, like online and Facebook and Instagram and texting, like, hey, you guys, are we gonna do like an open mat for the old guys? So there's like that thought.
Hey, why not? They did it in football with like 3 years ago that alumni were playing football against, guys. I mean, they shouldn't have been playing football, but they were. Yeah. Right?
Yeah. So we're trying to figure that out. And, like, there's a huge community of homeschoolers. And homeschool is becoming more popular and more popular. I actually homeschooled my kids in Orange County for, like, a year-ish or year and a half, and we had a good experience with it. But what I'm getting at is, like, those kids have to have some type of outlet, right? And the parents are getting funded through the state and somewhat to, buy books and take them on field trips and all that stuff. We've applied to be one of their vendors. Vendors. Sorry, thank you. One of their vendors. So we're thinking about starting up a midday practice at 10 a.m. on Tuesdays and Thursdays for them. Exposing their kids to wrestling. And hey, your kid might not know how to wrestle, but in 3 months' time, they're going to know how to wrestle. They're going to be pretty dang good at it, and they're going to be ready to like go into tournaments. And it's a great physical workout. It's great, all these attributes you gain from wrestling, like Mitch was talking about, discipline and all that
Joe,
stuff.
That's an interesting thought, because by having a program like wrestling, like what you guys do, going to these different tournaments that these kids can, and I'm talking about homeschooled kids.
Yeah.
That kids, I mean, unless it changes next year. But kids can't play sports if they're homeschooled.
Right, and I get those phone calls all the time from dads and moms that are like, hey, yeah, like we're homeschooling, but when's your times and all that stuff? And it's because like they don't get that opportunity, especially at the high school level too. Like they don't have their sports.
Right, but they can be a part of you guys and still get a college scholarship. Yeah. Because you guys can be a part of this. They're still going through the scholastics and the academics and stuff.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And so, but they could actually get a scholarship to a college and not even touch foot on the mat of a high school.
Correct. Yeah, that is a possibility. Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, and that whole world opened up to us like a few weeks ago when we started talking about like, hey, this is a possibility too. Because we were getting those calls from parents and like, and I didn't even like think of what you just said is actually that's even the best part about it is those kids get access to getting looked at by other coaches when they're wrestling at like high level freestyle Fargo type tournaments that the colleges are looking at, and they can do that with a vehicle like Origin Training Center.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, awesome, guys. So how does people reach you? What do you have a website? You mentioned a website.
Yeah.
Do you go by monthly rates, daily rates? How does all that stuff work?
Yeah, so we got a website. We have the domain name origintrainingcenter.com. So you can just go there, check us out. You can click on classes. It's $99 per month per athlete. It's month to month. You can pause it at any time. You can cancel it at any time. So that's kind of how we do our membership. And we're looking for new members all the time. Growing girls wrestling is a big part of what we want to do as well. You can find us also on Instagram. I think it's Origin_training_center, or it might be Origin_training_center. One of those.
Something. Just type them both in.
Just type in Origin Training Center.
You'll know if you
Instagram,
got the
you'll
wrong
find
one,
us.
right?
And then again, OriginTrainingCenter.com to sign up. And we'd love to have you and expose your youth to the wrestling. Yeah.
Now, do you think you'll ever, is this a stepping stone to like a UFC option as well? Or is wrestling?
Well, I think just wrestling in general has a good relationship with UFC.
Yeah.
As you can see in the last however many years, a lot of the wrestlers have gone into the UFC and have been successful. One of our guys at Cal Poly, Chad Mendez, was very successful. Was a multiple all-time All-American at Cal Poly, won the UFC and fought for titles and whatnot. When I graduated, I was hit up a couple times about coming into a mixed martial arts gym and training and getting into fighting and stuff like that. I like to think I was smart and didn't do that because my body's already beat up enough. But yeah, wrestling is definitely a tool that can be used in the mixed martial arts world. So yeah, if that's an avenue some of these kids want to take and learn how to wrestle and, combine that with whatever they're doing, kickboxing or jiu-jitsu or whatever, we're all for that. So yeah, that's another thing these kids are, like Joe was saying, hopefully one of these days we'll get some adults in there. And I know where I work, a lot of the guys do jiu-jitsu and whatnot. And so it'd be fun to get them in there and do a wrestling class and kind of, like I said, mix those things together and have some fun.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, one last question, and I look at both you guys. You guys don't have real bad wrestler cauliflower ear,
He has it more than me.
right?
Yeah,
But
I wore my headgear.
Yeah. So wear the headgear. That's what it helps,
Yeah.
right?
I mean, for sure. I mean, but, now my son looks at me, he's like, Dad, why don't you have that? I'm like, I don't know, son. I must have done something wrong, I guess. My son's trying to get cauliflower at 11 years old
He's
right now.
trying
He
to-
looks at Mitch, he's like, I want that, Dad. I'm like,
Well, so
it's like a badge of honor.
right? It definitely, it's a deterrent. You see a guy, Mitch, you're built like a house anyways, but you see somebody with cauliflower ears, you're like, all right,
wanna mess
maybe,
with that guy.
we're not gonna
Like
stay
every time
away
I'm
from
in an
that person.
airport, I'm in a line, I'm like, and I see a guy with cauliflower, I'm like, oh, that guy wrestled.
Right?
Don't want to touch that guy.
Exactly.
So yeah, for sure.
But is there truth to where you can only get it drained once?
No. So my right ear was probably worse, but my left ear would get big and swell up. And so, the quick remedy is grab a syringe and there's blood and pus within your ear and suck it out. And then you have to
Tape it.
You have to either put tape around your head or just make sure it's tight and it's compressed so that way it doesn't blow up again. And that's what makes it hard and stuff like that. This year, didn't feel too great. I had to get it casted and cut open, and yeah, it was a whole
Each
procedure.
ear has its own story.
Yeah. So kind of a cool story. My oldest son a couple years ago was at school, and there was an issue with a kid and whatnot, and so he stood up for one of his friends, and so I asked him, I said, hey, has that kid ever tried to mess with you or pick on you or anything? He goes, no, Dad. He goes, I know, he knows I'm a wrestler. I said, perfect. No conflict at all. And that's something that wrestling presents itself, not only with the cauliflower ear or whatever, but if you're known to wrestle, people think twice about talking to you or messing with you. So that's what's great about like we brought up earlier about self-defense and being confident, whether it be physical or just being a good person is what we want with these kids. So
Like you said, it teaches discipline as well.
yeah.
So, Gentlemen, thanks for coming on. Wish
Thanks
you all
for
the
having us.
success. I want to catch up with you guys in a few months and
Sounds good.
you know, see how it's going. Bring in some wrestlers. I want to have Emma in here.
Yeah.
You know,
Sure,
I'd love to
totally.
have, you know, Emma come in and chat, you know, the girls' side and the growth of that, because I know, you know, Matt posts a bunch of stuff on
Yeah.
there and that she's, you know, doing really, really good.
Great family, great people.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's a hard worker. She's a stud.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, guys, appreciate you guys coming on and sharing the story and talking a little bit about your business and your new training center up there in Paso Robles. And look forward to having you guys on in a few months and seeing what's been happening.
Sounds good.
We appreciate
Awesome,
it, Randy.
guys. Thanks a
Thank
lot.
you so much.
All right, thank
Well,
you.
there you have it, guys. Hey, you want to make sure that you get your kids into wrestling. Okay, this is the place to be, guys. It's brand new in Paso Robles, 3 weeks new. Get your kids up there, 5 to 18-ish. 17-ish, high school, be a part of this program and learn from the masters. These guys are the masters. You have the high school coach from Tascadero, high school coach from Paso Robles, and you have a long generation of Monteros also being a part of there, guys. So look them up, check them out, go by and check it out, see if it's for you. But as always, guys, we can't do this without you and our sponsors. We'd like to thank Escalar Wine Travelers Hideaway. Visit Tascadero, 805 Custom, MGP Coating, North County Junk Removal, The Trailer Barn, Story Termite Pest Control, Borho Auto Center, Kennedy Club Fitness, Airflow Filter Services, and Suprema Meat Markets. Thanks again, guys. We'll see you next time.
Hi, this is Dave Story, small game hunter with Story Termite and Pest. We're a full-service termite and pest control company. From rodents to termites, we can take care of all your pest control needs. Call today, we can tailor a pest control program that will meet your needs and budget. Contact us at 805-460-0650 or at storytermite.com. Remember, we don't have customers, we have friends.
Hi, it's Alex with Suprema Meat Market. We are a Mexican meat market with a taqueria. Come enjoy our high-quality cuts and meats. We offer choice and prime Harris Ranch beef, as well as chicken, seafood, and pork items. In the taqueria, all of our tacos come with handmade tortillas. We also offer specialty items like chilaquiles and chile rellenos. Come enjoy Taco Tuesday with Suprema. We offer our tacos at $1.99 each. Suprema Meat Market is located at 8950 Montecito Avenue in Atascadero.
Are you tired of looking at that worn-out concrete garage floor, patio, or porch? Look no further than MGP Coatings, where customer service reigns supreme. Our team goes above and beyond to ensure your satisfaction every step of the way. Before we even start coating, we meticulously repair your concrete, ensuring a flawless finish that lasts. And here's the best part. Our Pentec coatings are 4 times stronger than epoxy, so they won't chip or peel, making maintenance a breeze. Plus, they come with a limited lifetime warranty. Call us today at 805-952-5301 or check out our Facebook and Instagram and experience the MGP coating difference. Don't wait. Transform your garage, patio, porch, or driveway and become a part of the MGP coating family.
What's up, North County? This is Teresa Branch with Airflow Filter Service. We are a family-owned business right here in the North County. We have air filters, oils and lubricants, and hydraulic hoses. We provide services that include air filter cleaning, DPF cleaning, and waste oil collection. Come check us out at 1140 Ramada Drive, and we can help you with all your automotive and industrial vehicle needs.
Hi, this is Omid
and Deanna
at North County Junk Removal. We are a business known for helping our neighbors and our community.
Let us help you save money and get rid of any unwanted items.
And rest assured that our professional team adheres to global standards of safety and recycling. We are fully licensed and insured for your peace of mind.
We are locally owned and operated, and we look forward to helping you with all your junk removal needs.
Please call us at 805-769-6966.
Atascadero isn't your standard getaway. We're unique, just like you. We're growing, transforming, and figuring it out as we go. We're a town filled with innovators, artists, makers, and game changers. We're a little bit country, a little bit funky, and always authentic. We're here for your good times, your slow times, and your changing times. We're all in Atascadero. Come see for yourself. Learn more at visitatascadero.com.